It really all comes just from, I spent 30 plus years in law enforcement, Air Force veteran, 27 years at Denver PD, and that's where all this came from. Actual boots on the ground, dealing with critical incidents to the tune of thousands I did a little over 21 years on Denver SWAT teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode number 26. And today we have a guest. Our guest is none other than Brett Titus, founder and CEO of LifeSpot. And we're excited to have him on. He has spent more than 2 decades of his life dedicated to protecting us and serving us in a law enforcement capacity. And we're thankful for your service in that regard, sir. And we're excited to have you on the show today. So welcome.
Well, thank you guys. I'm honored to be here. I've been excited about this since Micah proposed it to me, and here we are. I love what you guys are doing, and even the name itself. I thought, man, that's pretty darn creative. So you guys have done a good job. I've listened to a few of them now, and you guys are really rocking it. So thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Appreciate it. Micah, you have, I think, a little bit more depth in an introduction that you can give Brett. You've known him, and you are the reason he is here today. So why don't you tell him your connections with Brett?
So I will say right out of the gate, before we get into any fun or anything, the single primary reason that Brett is here today, outside of the friendship that we have, is Brett is the founder, CEO, creator. You can tell your story of how many states you're in and how big this thing is, but LifeSpot is an active shooter prevention app. It is a one-of-a-kind, life-saving tool. Probably, I go back to my SWAT days, original. You trust the weapon in your hand, the guy next to you in your training, and this is the first piece of technology I've ever seen in my life that I said I'd put my hands in this. It's that good. And I don't say it because we're buddies. I say it because it's that awesome. So we'll get into that, but people should know that's what this episode is about and how he got to developing LifeSpot. The fun backstory, the crazy backstory, I'm doing a speaking event for Brian Murphy. Over in Wisconsin back in August. Gosh, I guess it's been 8 years ago now. Shot 15 times in the line of duty, right down to point blank range, stays in the fight, survives it, comes out here. We're doing an engagement, Back to Blue event. I'm speaking at it. Brett comes up after the event. Somehow we're talking small talk or something, and it's like, where are you from and all the things you do. And he said something about being from Michigan. I said, I was from Michigan. And he goes, and I said, what part? And he goes, a little town you probably never heard of. He says, a place called Willis. And I said, man, you were a rail splitter? And he's like, how do you know what a rail splitter is? And I said, well, I married one. And he went, what? He goes, who are you married to? And I said, well, you would know her as Jana Lockley. And he went, that was my first high school crush. So my wife and Brett went to high school together in this tiny little town of Michigan. I went to high school about 45 miles away. Jane and I marry. We have our lives, go to South Carolina, end up here in Colorado. Brett can tell his story on how he ended up out here in Colorado. But the second connection point is a buddy of mine that I went to church with actually for many, many years. Named Justin Dodge. Justin, second-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, has the JIT pit. He's trained many pro fighters, which Brett is. And they worked together, Denver SWAT, for many, many years. Justin and I knew each other in church. Nancy, who's our resident pediatrician brown belt here, trained under Justin. And so that whole world just kind of came together. So it was really cool. There's just a lot of people connected. And it's really a small world, but it's traveled over many states because Justin, who was is on Denver SWAT, pretty crazy story that he's gone through that we haven't really dove into. You can share some on that. Brett and Justin knew each other from Minneapolis days back in the day, where actually Justin played I don't know if he played junior hockey or college hockey. He was a goalie.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Justin and I had that overlap world too. So just crazy that we grew up in different states and are all here together and know each other now. Brett and I have been friends for I don't know how many years now.
Gosh, a long time.
It seems like it's been forever since the event. But this app he has created is, man, it's a game changer. It's revolutionized the 911 system. It's in so many different states, and I'm going to hand this over to you to get into whatever you want to talk about, and we'll Q&A this thing. But there's a story behind a story. I've had the opportunity to be a part of this thing, and I kind of not only rep it, but I advocate for it. With anybody I talk to, I'm like, you guys, you got to see what this is.
Yeah.
It's a game changer, and it's something that can go pretty much anywhere.
Anywhere.
It's
I'm
amazing.
excited.
So,
I'm excited to get into that. But you brought up something, Micah, that I think is worth starting at, and that is your story, how you ended up in Colorado. You were in Michigan. Is that where you were born? That's
Yeah.
where you were
Born and
raised?
raised, yeah.
What led you to Colorado?
So I was in the Air Force, got out in 91, and looking for a job. It's just like everybody else. I wanted to be a cop so bad. My dad was a cop. He did 36 years. And that was just my passion, wanted to do it. And I tested for Detroit. That's where my dad was a Detroit cop. Couldn't get hired, just kept trying and trying and trying. That led me to Minneapolis. I got a job opening the Mall of America, which is a hoot. I mean, that place is, if you've never been, it's amazing.
it's huge.
So we were there for the grand opening, and that's where I first met Justin Dodge. He was, I think he was actually security or a bouncer for one of the sports bars, and I worked security for the mall itself. So we continuously, Friday, Saturday nights, Justin's having to throw people out of the bar. Well, when they throw them out of the bar, they're throwing them into our jurisdiction, if you will. So that's how I met Justin way back then. A couple of kids. Gosh, I was 21, 22 when I got out, and he's a year younger than me. So we were just babies. So that led me to Denver PD, came to Detroit to hire, and I took the test. And 2 years later, I ended up getting the job. I stayed on the list for 2 years before they could fill that spot. So I moved out here and never stepped foot in Colorado in my life. And they called me at around 11 o'clock, late morning on a Tuesday. And they said, hey, we're Denver PD recruiting and want to see if you're still interested in employment at Denver Police Department. And I'm thinking they're updating the list, right? Why are you calling me at 11 o'clock going, yeah, do you want the job still? I'm like, yeah. And they say, okay, great. You're going to be here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to swear in.
Whoa.
I thought, wow. So, yeah, I had to run around and buy a ticket and land in Denver late at night, and had to find out where I was going. And that next morning, I became a cop. That's the way they did it back then. They swore you in.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah, I had less than 24 hours. And they said, you got to decide now because we're going to make the call the next person on the list. So, yeah, that's how I ended up here. This last minute, yeah.
Man,
Greatest decision, one of the greatest decisions ever, yeah.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
crazy.
So you just started. Where would your starting assignment have been? What
I was District 2, so patrol. Everybody starts off in patrol, and District 2 was Northeast Denver, and pretty heavy gang activity. We were in one of the busier districts. There was 5 districts then. Now there's 6, but I started up in District 2, and had a lot of fun. Had that hard charging partner, if you will. So we were constantly stirring up crime, car chases and foot chases and drug dealers and gang members and the whole 9 yards. And that was really one of the points in my career where I knew this is going to be for me. And I wanted to take it to that next level, which would be the Metro SWAT Canine Unit is where I ended up being assigned for the next. So I did 6 years in District 2, and then the other 21 years I did in Metro SWAT.
At what point did you see Justin again? At what point did you realize Justin was working for Denver PD?
It was, I don't remember exactly where I was, but I heard the name, and it's not that common of a name. It's not crazy, but I thought, well, that sounds familiar. And then as time went on, he came over. We have a temporary program in SWAT where you come over for 3 months, make sure it fits in your life and you get along with the team, that kind of stuff. So he comes over to be a temporary assignment to Metro SWAT, and as soon as we saw each other, like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, what are you doing here? And I go, well, I guess we both work here. And then he of course, with his resume, his drive and passion, he fit right in with the team. So before you know it, he and I are working together on a SWAT team. And then in time, he far smarter than me. He became sergeant, made rank, and I'll be darned, at the end of the day, towards the end of my career, last 4 or 5 years, he was my supervisor.
Wow.
So yeah, and I always had dirt on him, so I was always
Yeah.
he
I was gonna say, I wouldn't be afraid of him at all.
Yeah,
He'd be terrified of the things
yep,
I could tell.
Exactly. So yeah, he was a great supervisor. Needed a day off, he didn't even blink an eye. He's like, "Yep, whatever you need." I'm like, "Thanks, Sarge."
That is crazy. You tell the story. So, Brett, I think I said it in the intro. You're a pro fighter. Retired, I guess, kind of retired. I mean, you're thinking about doing a little bit more, but tell the backstory to that and your relationship before we dive into LifeSpot, because this is a great story, and your TAC dogs. Like, I think both of those things are amazing stories.
Jeez, I got a lot to remember.
Well,
You got a lot to talk. It's okay. One thing at a time. All right, pro fighting. That's what we're talking.
Well, so it's not as glorious, and let me digress just for 1 second. I want to say something that. It is a small world, and I get that. But what I've learned now over the years is good people gravitate towards good people. Mm-hmm. So the reason you know the same people as I know, and you know the same people that he knows, is because, well, we're all good people. We have the same mission, the same cut from the same cloth, if you will. So that's what I'm finding. It's we all know good people, and good people tend to gravitate towards good people. So that's what I'm finding.
Yeah.
The fight part, I started just boxing in local smokers. The police department would put on charity events, those types of things. And my first fight was against Aurora PD. And
please don't say it was Graham Dunn.
It was Graham Dunn, yeah. Another common, another great friend. And boy, we duked it out. It was a heck of a fight. And his coach at the time was a guy named Frankie Sanchez, who's a legendary MMA and boxing coach. He's a pro fighter for years and years and years. And he sees me fight his guy, and he's like, "Hey, who you training with?" And I'm like, "Really nobody, just a bunch of SWAT guys who go in the ring and beat each other up, but I have no official training." So Frankie takes me under his wing. And
did you win against Graham?
Well, so 1-1. Yeah. This is funny. So he won the first one, I won the second one, and then they wanted us to do the trilogy. But by then, we were such good friends, we couldn't do it.
Oh.
I can't punch a buddy like I would a non-buddy, right?
Yeah.
So
I think we're going to have to
trilogy.
do Dunn versus Titus here at JWI 4.
We should definitely do a suit match.
Yeah, that would be, I don't know. He stayed in pretty darn good shape.
He is,
I think,
he is pretty healthy.
I think I'm in trouble. But he just another one, just another good all-around guy. So I meet Frankie, and I retired with 32 fights, or 31 fights. Boxing was great, but I wasn't a good boxer. That takes such a specific, as you guys know, I mean, you're fighters. It's a whole different skill set than MMA. And I kept telling Frankie, and I did okay. I think it was like 14 and, whatever it was, 14 and
You've been hit too many
3.
times.
Yeah, see, I know, it's terrible. So I didn't have a great boxing record. But the cool thing is the Denver Brotherhood, who's the nonprofit, and they bring kids off the street, teach them boxing skills, life skills, that kind of stuff. So I was really involved with them, run by a bunch of really good cops. And the bonus to it was, gosh, I flew all over the country and then eventually the world boxing. So I fought in New York and Boston and England and Bermuda. So all these free trips to go get my head punched in a little bit. So it was kind of worth it.
You're downplaying it a little bit, because I've seen the championship sitting, the display sitting in the basement. So you can, I mean, it's okay to say.
Yeah, I say this all the time. Rather be lucky than good. But I did. I had Justin Dodge is my ground coach, and Frankie Sanchez is my stand-up and all-around coach. And before you knew it, even at an old age, I was beating guys half my age. So I was 7-1 in MMA.
Wow.
And my last fight, Frankie went to the commission. I wanted to turn pro just out of saying I'm a pro fighter. So that's why I said it's not as glamorous as we make it out to be. But I did. They did approve it. I got one fight, and I was 43 years old.
Oh.
And I fought a guy that was, Mike was 29. Yeah. And 3 5-minute rounds as regular pro fights. And he beat the snot out of me for the first 2.5 rounds. And by, once again, lucky than good, or, of course, with Justin's help, caught him in a guillotine and choked him out in one. So, yeah, that was, again, life-changing to be able to do that. And it was in front of our home crowd here in Denver at
amazing.
the PPA Event Center. And it was the coaching. And the beauty of the coaching is, I mean, for especially the real fighters, the real pro fighters, they spend a lot of money on coaching and that kind of stuff, where these guys just, we all did it for charity. So any money that I did win, we donated back to the Brotherhood and the PPA and stuff. So
Amazing.
but it kept me disciplined. And last thing I'll share, what I found was those skills that I learned on the mat and I learned in the ring helped and saved my butt on the street. And I've got a dozen of those stories to tell you about. Yeah. And that's why I suggest every darn cop on the street better get in here, better learn how to roll, better learn how to defend themselves, and get your butts out there, because out there it's real. There is no ref. There's no medic right outside the ring. You're not going to, you really got to consider. Because I've had people say, what are you, crazy, getting in the ring? And I'm like, do you not know what I do for a living? I mean, the ring is easy comparatively. So,
Yeah.
But
I think that there's definitely a little bit of shift that could take place and toward the betterment of that. I had a guy, I'm not going to mention any names, but he's in the middle of right now going through the academy with Castle Rock. And he's a black belt, super, super good at jiu-jitsu. And he's done so many pro jiu-jitsu matches. But he was going to be on my last card, and that was just the JWI. That was JWI 3. And he called me, and he was just like broken hearted. He was like, man, my captain or whoever it is found out about it and said I have to come off the card while I'm in academy and all that. I'm like, what? It's not even a pro MMA fight. This is jiu-jitsu. You've done like 100 pro jiu-jitsu matches. And I think there's a little bit of, they don't really know that much. Like, this is a good thing. You should be encouraging them to take matches and do things like this. I mean, it's one level when you're in an academy and, there's the risk of getting hurt or whatever in academy, but it's also on one level. From my perspective, it's like, this isn't even a pro MMA fight. Yeah. This is just a 5-minute grappling match. It's not even rounds. It's literally 1 5-minute match. Right? Yeah. It's just rolling. Yeah, it's 4 minutes. At 4 minutes, a gun or a knife gets thrown in if there's no submission.
Yeah, that's so cool.
We're having fun with that. So that's pretty cool. But what's super interesting, because you said you had a couple stories, so I'm gonna ask for at least one of those, because I think those are awesome to have.
Sure.
So you can be thinking of whichever one you think is a good example, but I'll share this because I just got back. I was in New Jersey a few weeks ago for the Tom DeBlas Affiliate Summit, and there's a person in the Tom DeBlas affiliation. His name's Freddie Trujillo, and his gym organization, it's called Black Belt Badge or something like that. He's a police officer, and he is very involved in rallying and being a voice and advocate for law enforcement to train. And he told the entire affiliation, and I wanted to get a camera out, and I didn't get it. I didn't realize this was going to be his last night at the affiliate summit, so I was going to try to ask him the next day, but he wasn't there at all anymore. Otherwise, I was going to ask him, hey, will you please get on camera with me and record this? I want to share this with my students. Because he shared with the entire affiliation his story of why he started training jiu-jitsu, and it's because he almost lost his life while he was on a call. He got beaten half to death, if not almost 100% to death. And that was his wake-up call, that none of these arrest protocols, these arrest controls, none of this stuff that we've been taught is working. It's not cutting it. This isn't enough. And he started training, and since then on, he's been a voice telling everybody who's in law enforcement, you got to train. You got to train, just the bare minimum, but it's not enough. You got to train jiu-jitsu. It will save your life.
So true.
So whenever you said that you had a couple stories, man, I was like, man, that's I think those stories are important. We need more of that. We need police officers to understand you need to train.
Yeah.
It could save your life while you're out there.
Absolutely.
And I mean, think about how many families that could stay families and not have to go through those losses if we just had some more training that was taken a little bit more seriously and given a little bit more value than it has been, maybe.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, well said. I'll give you the story that motivated me to do it. So I'm on the street, District 2, working with another great cop, a guy named Russ Bothwell. We catch a carjacker and foot chase. So back in the day, when I graduated the academy, I was 155. I was 22, 23 years old, getting a foot chase. And I was pretty quick for being a young, skinny guy. And I catch this guy over the fence, Russ. I bail out. Russ is driving the car. And the protocol was, I'm going to bail out here, chase bad guy, and then he's going to go to the other side and kind of set up a perimeter to the other corner. Well, I catch bad guy, and I'll be darned, I turn around and bad guy is methed out or cracked out, whatever it was, and he's far bigger than me. And he turns around, I draw my gun, and I'm like, get on the ground, and he jumps right on me, attacks me, racks my slide back, my gun jams, and the fight is on. And we fought, and I'm yelling. I couldn't even get to my radio. And I'm yelling for Russ. Russ hears me. And this goes on, and we all understand time lag during a stressful situation. Just when you think it's 2 minutes, it's like 30 seconds. Well, because of the radio transmission and tapes, I actually fought the guy for over 2 minutes before Russ got there. And then we fought him another 3.5 minutes before other guys and gals got there to put cuffs on him. So being overpowered like that, my weapon didn't work. Back then we didn't have tasers. I mean, this is 94, 95. We didn't have tasers. So it's a fisticuffs. And I had zero training. And you're right. And I love Denver PD. I love a lot of the stuff they're doing now. But back then, the arrest control, it's so silly. Yeah, it works on a passive person if you're doing nothing, right? But a real fight is a real fight. I ended up pistol whipping him. Split his head pretty bad. He had 100 and some stitches on his head, and I finally needed 3 other officers to come put this guy in cuffs. And when I got done that night, I was so mentally, not just physically tired, but mentally tired. And for the first time really in my life, I was afraid. Yeah. And I thought, whoa, you want me to go out there and do what? I can't chase these crackheads around like that anymore, being the stature and the mindset that I have. And that's what got me into the ring. That's what got me into the weight room. And that is, again, terrible situation, but it changed my life. So now I preach that to every single cop. You better be in shape. You better be ready to fight, because that's what we do. And, I get it. There's the softer side and talking with kids and being mentors and all that fun stuff. And that is really important as well. But at the end of the day, your life is on the line. And if you're not prepared to fight for your life, then maybe you ought to pick another career field. And I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you familiar with Jordan Peterson? You know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What you just said just reminds me of so much what he would say, something like that.
We talked about this.
Yeah, it's definitely super important to have that softer side to be able to mentor kids and stuff. But really, what the credibility is going to come from is that you're capable.
Yeah,
you're capable. If you're not capable, then what's your credibility?
That's right.
So you got to be capable. You got to be that warrior in a garden.
That's right.
So
A lot of people will hear that and they'll be like, dude, you got in a fight, then you end up 5 minutes and you're pistol whipping somebody, you give them 100 stitches. People don't understand, if you're in fear for your life, even as an officer, the same way a citizen is, you need to be able to defend yourself all the way to the death. And that's what would have happened tonight, right? We wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's right.
And that 5-minute fight, by the way, if anybody's never been in one, 5 minutes is an eternity.
Yes, sir.
Holy cow. We do self-defense classes here, and I'll do them with the gals, and I'll tell them at the 60-second mark, you're going to be so spent. And they'll look at you at 45 seconds going, And so, that 5 minutes, when you said that, I was like, holy cow. I don't think I've ever been in a legitimate 5-minute street fight. Well, I've been in a 3-minute fight, and I tell you, it felt like I was.
Yeah. It was, again, and that was with help. Yeah. That was with 2 of us. And he was a significantly bigger guy. Both Russ and I were smaller stature back then. But, it was one of the scariest moments in my life. And I'm blessed I'm still here for sure. But I'm kind of glad it happened, because it's changed my mindset. I never really even considered going to the SWAT team or canine unit because it was that more, dangerous. If you, I mean, it's all dangerous. Don't get me wrong, but that's what you're supposed to be doing is the worst of the worst. And I would have never thought about it until my life changed and said, "Oh yeah, I could do that. I could do that." So I was glad it happened, as miserable as it was.
Yeah.
You were in the canine unit.
Yeah,
So you were a trainer. You trained the dogs.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Towards the end of my career, yeah.
Have you seen did you see the video that we did on the last JWI? You probably did. You probably missed it.
Dude.
Is there,
Dude.
No, I didn't see it.
Micah risked his life for entertainment.
Did you? Well, you do that often. So what was it this time?
Dumber than a box of rocks sitting over here. Jared.
Let me see if I can pull up the clip here.
So Jared comes to me. So Jared's got an American Bulldog. How much does he weigh?
He's like 100 pounds.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's big.
Yeah.
He's stout. And he says, "Hey, I've been training this dog since he was a pup. Best dog I've ever had. Easiest dog ever trained. Amazing. He's got this really cool thing he'll do. He'll come over, like if you point a gun at him, he'll come over and take the gun out of your hand, and he won't bite you. Right. He'll take the gun."
Right on.
And I went, "Well, I had a Malinois in law enforcement for a short period of time. He wouldn't take the gun.
Yeah.
He would eat the human being, right? And so I thought, yeah, okay, Jared. Well, I saw it demoed once, and I was like, that was actually pretty cool. So Jared's brilliant idea was, hey, during JWI, during this massive event, all this filming, live streaming, I want you to come down, stand on the other side in front of, I don't know, 150 people down here watching, point a gun at my dog. And I'm going to release the dog, and he's going to come over and take the gun out of your hand."
Wow.
Now, when we practiced it, the first run at it, I was like 8 feet from the dog, 7 feet from the dog. And Jared's got a hold of him, and he comes over and he just kind of gingerly takes the gun out. What didn't hit me, I said dumb as a box of rocks. I really am. I'm standing. I mean, we're looking at it down here. So I'm on this side of the pit. Jared's over here by the pole. I don't know what that is, 25 feet?
Yeah, yeah.
It never dawned on me that the dog was coming at me from 25
He's
feet.
going to pick up some speed.
Dude.
When we were practicing, he was just flow rolling with you. Okay, he was going.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah, I pulled it up. This was live speed. This was it. This was actually the roll. So he was coming for you.
When he hit me, I didn't fall over.
Yeah.
Oh no, I went to the
100
ground.
pounds
Yeah.
pushing you down. Yeah.
That's
cool.
I can tell you that.
Yeah,
So-
look, we got multiple angles here.
Yeah. So he not only takes the gun from my hand, never touches my hand. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I had puncture wounds on my thighs because when he hit me, he jumped up.
Yeah.
And at the time, I manned up. I'm like, I'm not going to show this. I got up. I walked away. I was like, holy crap! I just got hit by 100 pounds of bulldog. I'm bleeding
funny.
down the inside of my thighs, but he never harmed me. It was unbelievable how well he's trained.
I mean, look at his tail. Look at his. He's
Dude, he's so happy.
He's a good looking boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dog, man. He cool story. So one of my first businesses was a dog training business. It was called Beast Mode Canine Conditioning.
Okay.
And so we did conditioning, but I did training as well. And my dogs were kind of like, that was my sales pitch. I was just like, hey, look at what my dog can do, right? That was kind of my resume, so to speak.
Yeah.
So for a while, that was the whole spiel. The whole slogan was more than just a walk. So I was trying to go after people who were paying people to walk their dogs. Dogs want to do more than just walk. They want to run. So I was like, I'll take your dog for a run. I don't just walk them. But we were doing runs and workouts like with pulling weight sleds and all kinds of stuff. And I had pulled stats on the Alaskan Iditarod because those are like one of the only studies of like the caloric output of dogs is from the Iditarod. Other than that, there's not very many studies.
Yeah.
Of how many calories dogs burn and all that. So I use that to kind of be like my marketing with that business. But my dogs, they were it. And so he had one year we did a on stage live demonstration of him doing a weight pulling thing at the Douglas County Lifestyle Expo, which was pretty cool. So Zion that's his name, that's the dog's name. He's been very widely known, and he actually is a dad of about 12 14 pups. A couple of them were stillborn, but I still give them credit. There was a lot of puppies.
Yeah.
A lot of puppies for a litter, and most of them ended up staying in Castle Rock.
Oh, wow.
But Zion's been super well trained, super well known. He was sponsored by some supplement companies back in the
very
day.
cool.
But very well trained. He's 11 years old.
Oh,
now,
wow. He
and
looks
he's
good.
still spry out there.
He looks good.
And I'm 57, so combined we're like 290 in dog years.
Dog years, yeah.
Yeah, but so canine unit, that's super cool, and I know that you got the thing on your your shirt says Tack Dogs. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we so my ex-wife, who still love her to death, she's one of my best friends. She was a canine handler out in Jeffco, and I did one of my the first course, the first training session, and I met her, and this is her words. She's like, the minute I took that one class, dog-wise, not personal-wise, she's like, you changed my life. So one of the things that I learned, I used to do the sport, I'm sure you've heard of it, Schutzen. So I was a big Schutzen guy.
Is that like karate or
no? It's a sport for dogs, so it translates in German to protection dog.
Oh, okay.
So it's the tracking, obedience, and protection.
I'm not as smart as you might. You shouldn't assume that I just know stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. At least he's good looking, right? So you got that one. Yeah, you're right.
I don't even know about that part, but Schutzen. I don't know why for whatever reason it sounded like karate.
It's a internationally known. I actually was the 22nd American ever. When you win the nationals here, you get to go to Germany and compete in the basically the world event. So, and it's super control of the dog. I mean, it's insane how perfect the dog has to be to at that level. So during that time, I had a Schutzen dog and a police dog, and in the police world, back then, we didn't believe that, well, if you put too much obedience in the dog, they won't go out and engage. They won't go out and bite somebody. Absolutely false. So I had a Schutzen dog that I didn't even have a leash, and I had a police dog when I'm out searching life and death for the worst of the worst bad guys, because you're only deploying a biting canine on the worst of the worst bad guys.
Yeah.
And here I am out doing that, and I'm getting pulled around, no control over the dog. It was just it was ridiculous and dangerous. So I said to myself, why does this dog not need a leash, and this one pulls me around? So I combined the two, and that's where Tack Dogs came from. That we're gonna take police dogs and not be sloppy anymore, and we're gonna be disciplined, and that's what we did. We came up with, we call them 10 disciplines from start to a tactical level with a dog. And these 10 steps, if you follow them and you do them right, boy, the training time is cut by 2/3, and the result at the end is, and that's what I did for my last, probably 15 years, was deployed exclusively with the SWAT team. So we did the absolute worst of the worst bad guys, and ended up with 263 dogs over that course of time, 216 bites apprehensions with dogs. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And the obedience was the key. You think about when we're out there, you have to have your weapon out. Well, who can shoot real good when your leash is in your left hand or one hand and your weapon's in the other, and you're getting pulled around? Where are your shots going to go? So with obedience, I didn't need a leash. The dog stayed where he's at, did what I told him to do, so I can have a good shooting platform, because that is not our ultimate goal, right? If you need to use that deadly force, you better be really, really freaking good at that. So that's where the program came from. And we trained, lectured to, I did thousands of teams combined with their SWAT guys, and just how to work your dog and get that control so you can go in with the team. And that was a life changer for, I've got dozens of emails, letters, thank you, went in with the team. Because end of the day, and as much as we all here are dog lovers, at the end of the day, we can replace the dog. And I get beat up so bad by saying that sometimes. But what we can't replace is Jimmy's dad. We cannot replace that. So we came up with a term. One of our SWAT guys, Danny Delmonico coined the phrase pause before boots. And he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
When gas doesn't work, our cameras aren't working, cannot find that bad guy, before you send those boots in, you got to send those paws in. And it's not on a death mission or anything else, because you never know. You just never know who's armed or who's not.
Right.
But we have to risk that dog before we do a human. And once again, that took over the country. People were like, wow. Because you'll have guys that will say, well, I'm not sending my dog in there. Well, if you don't, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
You're going to send Bill? Well, you can't replace Bill.
Yeah.
So that's those are some of the key points of how our program took over the country for several years. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. And yeah, we can't get too deep into that. I don't want to cry or anything.
I
am a
sure
dog.
say, man, I can get rid of a person before a dog.
I'm pretty sure that's like the entire point and the premise of
jeepers.
the John Wick movies, right?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes, that's right. That's a heck of a scene. Those dogs are
Oh,
awesome.
by the way, Ballerina comes out on DVD today.
You still watch DVDs?
You better believe I do. I collect them. Do you know why? Because when all you fancy guys in your tech and it all drops and the world goes to crap, I got a generator and a DVD player, and everybody will be eating pizza at my house watching. Yep.
Hey, I've got a DVD player in my camper and a
you.
collection of DVDs. But you know what you can also do now is you can just download it onto a hard drive.
I'll download it anyway, but I'm still going to go buy it because it comes out on DVD today. I love being the old guy.
That's fun. That's funny. Oh my gosh.
Cool. So TAC Dogs, it's still a thing like right now. You guys,
It is. No, when I started LifeSpot, that was an actual company, an LLC, and we ended up selling it to another canine handler that still keeps the program going. And
Cool.
And I would say there, just when you, nobody knows it all, but just when you think, boy, we've done really good, boy, they've taken it like really, really good. So just
Wow.
evolution and more training and more repetitions, it's gone far further than I've ever taken it.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really cool
That's
to see
amazing.
that. Yeah, it's fun.
That's really, really cool. So, Brett, you've heard a couple of episodes. I don't know if you heard the episode or not where we kind of talked about LifeSpot a little bit. We have
did.
talked about it.
Yeah, thank you.
And LifeSpot's an incredible concept, and not just a concept now, but actually it's, as Mike has already said, it's already very rapidly changing the landscape of things. So let's talk about LifeSpot, and if you could start from like the very beginning, like
Yeah.
what motivated you? What's the motivation behind this?
Do you want a napkin?
Yeah, don't get I know. Don't
got
get me
some
started.
tissues right here.
Colorado, we have been plagued with these active killers. I mean, it's just, they're happening a lot more everywhere, but for whatever reason, I mean, think about our schools, our churches, our grocery stores, for God's sake, our movie theaters, just everywhere. And these things keep happening. And when you study them, when you think about the reality of an active shooter, what really happens? Well, during that time, even responding to some and doing research and interviewing survivors and all those types of research that you can do, I kept finding there's 7 challenges, 7 things that happen every single time, no matter what the venue. And we all know the definition of insanity, right? Mm-hmm. Why are we doing the same thing over and over again, expecting to have different results on these? So started to think about, well, what do we have today? What could we do to solve these 7 challenges? And what do we all, today's day and age, any of us go anywhere, ever, anytime without our cell phone? So I thought, well, there's a tool that solves for every kind of problem, a cell phone is darn near solved. Well, why don't we use that for active shooters as well, to protect our children? And that was our mission, protect our kids. And it still is. I would say 70% of our clientele are schools, teachers and staff, but now we are in casinos, hospitals. We're in the San Antonio Zoo. We just got the contract for Monterey Bay Aquarium. So anywhere that these things can happen, our app solves those 7 challenges. So that's where it started, just seeing the problem, actually responding, being in these things and going, why are we doing this again? And it's not working.
And define the challenges for people listening. They won't understand this law enforcement world in this response.
Sure. So, response. So the number one challenge that we have today is response time. That threat is always measured in seconds, and our response is always measured in minutes. So what do we do to speed up that response time? Well, it's the way that we're notifying. So the notification process, the days of just simply calling 911. No, 911 is of huge importance, but you can't just call 911 because there's so many steps and you're adding to that response time. So you think about 911 needs to know, the cop on the street, fire EMS, the command staff, and most importantly, the teachers and staff at that school. Well, the way that works today is minutes and sometimes dozens of minutes before all 5 of those groups even know. And again, insane. So that's the notification, the second challenge. Next challenge is the location. Well, where's it at? Don't just give me the name of the campus or the school or the address, because how many of us know that there's one address for a big campus, but it's building 101, 104, room 18 in building 104. That takes us forever to find. If you listen to the Nashville school shooting 911 recordings, one of the teachers gets through 911 and tells the dispatcher the shooter's in the second grade hallway. Well, in a crisis, that's what people are going to do. I'm in the break room. I'm in the library. I'm in this room. Well, that doesn't mean anything to the responder unless they're very familiar with each and every school and building in their jurisdiction, which is almost impossible. So location, we got to pinpoint that down. Floor numbers can be a pain in the butt, right? What floor do I start on? So location. Communication, you think about take any high school, take a decent sized high school, 2,000 children in that school. The minute that shot goes out, those kids and teachers, everybody's calling 911. And that happened down at Arapahoe High School.
Claire Davis.
Yep, God rest her soul. Claire Davis, when she was shot and killed, you had a couple thousand kids in that school that particular day in Arapahoe County. There was only 4 or 6. I don't remember.
I believe it was 4. I think
four
it was 4
dispatchers. Well, you got 2,000 people trying to call 4. Just the math doesn't work. Then what we're seeing is the children will panic, and rightfully so, and call their parents. And then guess what the parents do? They call 911. There's just until we have 1,500 personnel call centers, you're going to run into that problem. So communication going out comes to a standstill. Communication going in, because law enforcement, 911 doesn't have the 150 teachers on that campus. We don't have their phone numbers. So there is no way to communicate. And things like PA systems, and there's systems out there that somebody hits a panic, and I hate that word, panic button, and lights go off and sirens, and a PA goes off telling them, lock down, do this, do that. Well, you can't do that. One, they need to hear what's going on. Right? You don't need that, but I need to know if I hear shots or if I hear somebody trying to get through my door. But these systems are so loud, and it causes panic. It creates panic. So the communication aspect and the way that we're doing it today is a false sense of security for most, and I'll say most of our schools today, because you're not really solving those challenges. The seriously injured. We know this from Columbine, of course, Mr. Sanders, that was shot protecting his children, and he simply bled out because we need to know where the injured are at. Can you imagine the size of a major high school, and you're going room to room, area to area, doors are locked, can't find keys, trying to ram doors to find people bleeding inside? We need to have that communication to let law enforcement, fire, EMS know where the injured are at. So we solved that challenge as well. Armed identification, we big supporters. I was doing a panel down in the Springs, and there was a pretty anti-gun parent, and she said, I do not want guns in my child's school. I don't want a teacher carrying a gun. Well, when I posed a question to her, I said, well, let me ask you, God forbid, but if a shooter goes in your child's classroom and that teacher can pull out his weapon and put that shooter down to save your child, then would you want that gun in the classroom? And her face turned white. She was like, okay. Couldn't answer. So again, I don't want to get off into that deep end, but
it's true though.
Yeah, I believe so.
And there really is a phobia that people have without an understanding of the need or necessity.
Right. Yeah. If there would have been,
it's like eating dinner every night without a fork.
Yeah.
I mean, sooner or later you're going to go, I'm going to use some
just gonna
common
use-
sense.
yeah,
I think it
exactly.
goes back to what we just talked about with when we were talking about Jordan Peterson. I mean, you want them to be capable, right? I mean, if it was up to me, I want every teacher in school to be a jiu-jitsu black belt. Right?
Sure.
And be somebody who's capable. I
Yeah.
trust my kids with the safety, with the safety of my kids. It's all got to start there. If we can't keep the kids safe, what are we teaching them
Exactly.
for? You know?
Exactly. Yeah,
But
that's
anyways.
got to be first. So armed identification. The challenge with that is law enforcement needs to know who the good guy is with the gun versus the bad, especially carrying concealed plain clothes. We've seen that across the country. You've had good guys getting in confrontation with cops and even to the loss of life. So with our technology, cops are going to see, have instant communication, know GPS real time where those armed good guys are at and have communication. So we're going to solve that challenge. And then finally, the reunification. When it's all done, without communication, these things take forever. I've been on a couple of them where just herding cats. You've got panicked, scared to death children and staff, and you're trying to get them out. We've seen it on the news, these big mass exodus, and the kids' hands are up and their phones are in their hand, and they're trying to rally them in a certain. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So now, because of our communication, we can go one-to-one with that teacher that's with 15 children, let her or he know, okay, it's okay to come out now. I want you to go here. The cops are outside your door. So reunification is much more efficient, a heck of a lot less stressful, and a heck of a lot safer for all involved. So all 7 of those things on a stupid, simple to use, really inexpensive phone app.
So what is LifeSpot? What is the app? What does the app do? What does it look like? Somebody on the end user side and all the logistics behind it. Whenever you have the LifeSpot app on your phone, what does that look like? What does the app do?
So when you perceive that threat, this is for active killer only. One of the things that, again, there's tech out there just for the sake of tech. For example, there are panic buttons, which, again, we should not be using that word. To activate LifeSpot, we have a focus button. The button actually says focus. Focus, believe what you're seeing, hearing, feeling. Focus and take action instead of panic. Why would we? Don't panic. And then there's the word panic button. So those little things in a crisis, I truly believe, will help. Words matter in a crisis. So that's why we have a focus button. But you're going to perceive that threat. And this is not for some of the tech that's out there. You open up the app and you have a choice. Is it an active shooter? Is it a fire? Is it a tornado? Those challenges are solved. We haven't lost a child in a fire in 80 years?
Probably close to it, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't need to solve. We don't need to put extra effort, extra thought process. What if in that panic moment there's an active shooter and you hit the fire button? And then everybody's evacuating. So those are the things that we have to be cautious of. Don't build tech just for tech. So with ours, we do one thing only, solve those 7 challenges for active killer only. So that way we're not confusing adding complexity, which adds response time. We're going to lose more lives. So that's what we do. And how it works is first thing we do is we geofence. So we draw a line around the school. So it's only for teachers and staff at that school, and it only works when they're at that school. So they can't use it at home. They can't use it for a traffic accident. We're in over 200 now law enforcement agencies in 7 states. And the cops love it because we solve dozens of challenges for them. And I'll talk about those here in just a second. But so the user perceives that threat, and they're going to use LifeSpot to call 911. So we're not changing it. 911 needs to know. They need to get on and know the description, what type of weapon, direction to travel. Those are important things for responders to know. If that person that activates LifeSpot and is talking to 911, if they can't talk, the minute they hit that focus button, all 5 of those groups are notified, and that's in less than 5 seconds. That's the game changer. No more minute and a half, no more dozens of minutes. In less than 5 seconds, all 5 of those groups know. Not only do they know, but they're going to know the location, where it started within a 35-meter radius, to include the floor number. So there we're solving that location. The communication. When 911 is overloaded, the law enforcement commander will have direct, instantaneous communication via chat with all of the users inside. So if you can see the shooter, all you got to do is put help or shooter. Law enforcement is going to see exactly where you're at and be able to dispatch via radio to where the shooter's at. So if that teacher said second grade hallway, I don't need to know anything else. All I need to do is click on a button. It's going to show me where that person's at. So we solved that location challenge. As I mentioned, the armed identification, or I'm sorry, the seriously injured, they just hit a button on our app, and on law enforcement's screen, on their computer screen, everybody's real-time GPSed and color coordinated. Yellow means they chose to fortify, they're locked in the room. Green means they're getting the heck out. If they're injured, their dot will turn to red. Now, law enforcement can see in that building where the injured are at and send the appropriate resources. Instead of searching around room to room, area to area, we can go right to injury, saving seconds, which saves lives. Armed identification, as I mentioned, law enforcement will be able to see them, know who they are, and be able to communicate with them instantaneously as well. And then because of that communication, the reunification is, again, streamlined and a heck of a lot safer because they can see everybody, know where they're at, send them a message. We have their name, we have their phone number. They can even call them and say, hey, Miss Jones, it's us outside your door. Go ahead and open it, and we're going to count your kids, take a roll call, and that's how we need to reunify. So that's as simple as it is.
Man,
the law enforcement side has a commander, which is on a laptop desktop. Some police departments have put it in dispatch. Others have not. They're going to leave it to the actual cop that's going to be the commander in charge of that scene, so they can put it anywhere and be able to manage this from across the city. Michael will tell you, command posts, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Set up a command post. Well, by the time somebody drives to where that command post is, usually a big RV type vehicle, gets it to the scene, the fast command post is set up in a half hour. We all know, again, that threat is measured in seconds.
Yeah.
With our technology, they can command law enforcement can command this from 50 miles away because they can see a bird's eye view of everything that's going on, and via radio communicating what they're seeing. They're the eye in the sky. So that's why law enforcement has been huge, super, super supportive.
That's so cool.
It is epically cool. And the one thing I'll add to it, Brett has created something, and I want to go. I don't want to rabbit trail far, but I think we need to share at least a story of why you developed this, because you and I have both been through a lot of doors. You've been through far more than I with Denver, being a full-time SWAT guy. But when I ran my team, I can tell you this: you step over a body because you got to go get a threat, and you're looking down and that guy's alive, and you're like, "I'll be back."
Yeah,
that's how we used to do it back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to stop the threat. Otherwise, you're just going to have more people laying there. And that's the rated R for reality part. You step over a kid, and it changes your life.
Yeah.
It changes you. I've never met a cop that doesn't bust out in tears the moment you start talking about that kid you couldn't save, or you had them. They were right there. And this, nothing's foolproof.
Right.
Nothing's foolproof. Nothing's guaranteed. Even with the app, there still can be a moment where, like the deal in Minneapolis, by the time somebody had hit the app, well, the guy was shooting through a window while they were praying. You know, I mean, that's not going to stop that. But what this does do, and people need to understand this, and you brought up a point with dialing 911, the Claire Davis deal, 1,500 kids calling through 4 dispatchers. A lot of people don't realize most law enforcement agencies only have, and Arapahoe County's big.
Yeah.
You only got 4, 6, 7, 8 on the high end really working at any given time. And by the way, Darren Weekly's coming on at the end of the month, so
awesome.
we're gonna have some conversation with him, the sheriff here at Douglas County. But I think it's important for people to understand. You pick up the phone. Your expectation is, I'm dialing 911. I'm getting help right now. That's not always true. And as good as the system is, it's not always foolproof, and it takes time. The thing that I love about this, we sat in a room. And so you didn't really. We'll briefly touch on the tech. So this is for both platforms, iOS and Android.
Android,
right?
yeah.
Right, and it's done through the Amazon
AWS, yeah.
System, which
services,
essentially is
yeah.
the best on the planet.
Yeah, for sure.
This thing you can notify about 5,000 people in just a few seconds for the bandwidth of a YouTube video. So this thing goes app to app. So it's incredibly fast, and it's way cool when you're sitting when we're doing a demo. We did it was over at Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, yeah.
We're standing up on the stage, and he sets off the app, and there's 400 people in the room or something, and in 3 seconds, it's like everybody's phone goes off. It's like an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
And it's the only tech that I know of on the planet that's treated like an Amber Alert. Like it will actually override your phone, correct?
Yeah. So it's a little bit complicated there, but to answer your question, yes. So if your do not disturb is on or your volume's down, we do have that capability. There's settings and some little stuff like that, but for the most part,
it will. The point is if you're in a classroom and they're like, well, how am I going to hear it? Oh, you hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it went off in here, you'd hear it on the other side of the coffee shop. I mean, it's incredibly loud and annoying, get your attention. But there's so many good factors that come with this, but it's the speed and it's the fact that all of your resources are answered. And I know you covered that, but I cannot state this from the medic side and the SWAT side. I had two different roles. As a medic, it's saved people's lives. And as a SWAT guy, it's stopped the threat. Yeah. Well, now you're doing both all at once from a bird's eye view. And this thing is so cool to watch because you're seeing these boxes and triangles move, and you have the location of the shooter.
Yep.
So you have not only a starting point, but you also have update points. So if the shooter is moving, somebody can sit on the app in a classroom and text law enforcement and go, hey, I think the shooter's outside my door. And because they're GPS, you instantly now know where that's at. So if the guy moved 200 yards down the hallway, you know exactly where he's at. It's crazy cool. I mean, it really is a game changer because if you're in the emergency responder world and you're going to this scene, is Brett's point, I don't know what the second grade classroom is. Yeah. If I've never been in that school, well, now you do. Yeah. Now you know exactly where to go. And there's no more hunting and running around. It's just, bam, we're going to the source. And it's a game changer. It should be in every school in America.
It's scary because it's still life and death, and especially with our children. So every time it goes off, and it's been used real time by the grace of God. Thank you. No injuries, no shots fired, but actual weapons on school that were seen by staff. They set it off, and the cops were there. And I don't want to give out names or places or schools, but
it was fast though.
Yeah, it was immediately. Because local law enforcement had it, there happened to be a patrolman 2-3 blocks away. Had they not had it, by the time that principal called 911, got the information, dispatch gave it to the cop, he was already driving away from the school. It would have been minutes later. But as soon as that teacher swiped it, there was a guy in the parking lot with a pistol. As soon as the teacher swiped it, the alert went out, and the cop was literally 2 blocks away, turned around, and the bad guy was in custody in 29 seconds before he even got to the front door.
Let me ask a super important question, I think. This is just my opinion, my perspective. And I know you said don't want to share names, don't want to share places. Was there any news article, anything?
Yeah.
News article?
Local, yeah.
Local?
Yeah, local.
The thing is, man, anytime that there's an event where lives are taken and there's these tragedies, national headlines. Yeah. How can we get these good stories? Hey, American-made company has a solution to save lives, and it works. There's the national headline: lives saved, crisis averted, threat neutralized, whatever it is. That's the thing is, I feel like, why does it always have to be a tragedy? Why can't it just be, hey, crisis averted, threat eliminated before it even took lives?
Doom and gloom sells, right? Oh, man. I mean, it really does, and it's a shame. And I don't want to. I'm a cop. I'm always going to be a cop. I'm a terrible salesman. So, but that's the truth of it. And you know where it starts? It starts right here. You guys inviting me on, and you guys being willing to talk about it, because it's not easy to talk about. I mean, it's really not. We're talking about life and death of children. It's a tough topic, but starting with you guys and you guys getting the word out to your audience, hopefully it just grows from there, because you're right. Regular media sure as heck won't do it because it's not juicy. It's not, devastation. Again, that's what sells. That's what draws your attention. So
do you think that all the parents and any of the times where the app has been used, it has been deployed and it was successful? Because from what I understand, every time that it's been used, and you just said it, it's been successful. It's worked great.
Yes.
So the first thing that I could think of is if I'm a parent at a school and I get a newsletter or whatever, this LifeSpot, man, I'm just going to be shouting it from the mountaintops. I'm going to be telling everybody, did you hear about this new app, LifeSpot? My kid's on this planet today because of this app, LifeSpot.
That's good. Yeah, good point. That's one of the things so again, it's that hard market, if you will, because what we won't do is we won't brag on that. Of course, we won't, we don't want most of our schools, almost all of our clients don't want their security protocols getting out. So it's hard to market that. So I can say things like that. Like, yeah, we actually probably saved a couple lives or several lives or whatever the case may be, but we just can't, it's hard to get somebody to come on and go publicly with it. Now, as we all know, schools and anything that happens, all public information, but yeah, you're right. For the media to pick up on it, it's just not juicy enough, and you would think it is. I know when my son was in school, I worried about it all the time, probably due to my career field, but I panicked every time I'd get a text from a school saying, we're in lockdown, and you're like, why? And that's all I know, that's all I get, and then I would start to panic.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, too, and this is something, so I do a lot of training, and Brett and I have talked about this. I don't know how many different conversations we've had from the training side of stuff. The thing I love about this app is it requires the end user to hold a button for 3 seconds. There's not a human being on the planet that has a cell phone that can't go 1, 2, 3. I saw this thing. It's bad. 1, 2, 3. That's the extent of training you need. Essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, to dumb it down. I mean, there's a little bit of the back end platform when you go into a school, but the essence is if you can hit your text button to open it up to text somebody, you're already ahead of the curve on this. And it's that simple.
Yeah.
And when people see the technology in action and you do the demo, that's where people are like, oh my gosh, like I heard it. I didn't realize how easy this was. Yeah. It's like you texting your kid going, hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? Except for you're in a classroom going, hey, I'm in room 201. The shooter's outside the door. You're literally conveying that information. Right. And law enforcement is conveying back to you what to do in that moment. And that's the piece, that's the game changer. Like for me, I'm going down, I'm on the hunt for the bad guy. And now I got 500 eyes and ears.
Yeah.
All at once.
Let me interrupt again, if I may.
Oh, please. Okay, we're back. And I don't remember exactly where we
I was going to have him just tell a quick story. And I don't want to go doom and gloom. We never want to stand on the grave of a lost child. But I do think it is important to give perspective. You said why you did it, why you created it, and the problems that it solved. But I think there's got to be a driver behind that got you to that point. Be it Columbine, be whatever it is. I mean, so much of this happened.
And I like what you said, and hopefully we can edit some of this out because I'll be frank with you guys. But I was just at the Broncos game with Jamie Smith, who Jamie Smith is one of the SWAT guys that was literally probably the first guy. He was cutting his lawn, and he was the first guy to go in. Like Denver PD said, "Yeah, we don't care what you're doing, we're going in." And Jamie was one of the first guys. So with that being said, a unit as a whole, we can say, that Columbine happened and I went to the unit 2 months before Columbine, but we don't talk about Columbine. So that's why we dance around that because just like John and Maria Castillo, they're now good friends of mine. And their son Kendrick was the one that attacked the shooter at STEM and got killed. So we don't talk about that. So and you're right, don't dance on the grave. So I'll just not glance. I'll just have to glance over that question because I don't want to get into.
Oh, that's fine. We can move past it. The point I wanted to make, and you don't even have to tell a story, is I just wanted people to understand there is a depth behind this that drove you to say enough.
Yeah.
And that's the important part. We don't have to tell a specific story. It's just that there's so many stories is the point of response. And you mentioned it earlier here in Colorado. And I think that is important for people to recognize is we have been the epicenter and it's grown nationally now, which is sad. But for a long time, it was, you'd hear in the media, another Columbine style or another Colorado event or another, and you go, okay, enough.
Yeah.
And I think that people on the back end of that need to understand this app this isn't about a money making thing, or it's not about a. I mean, this is about saving lives.
Right,
It's
right.
literally about saving lives, and you would think that the entire. I mean, I think this way. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I look at it because I've seen it work. This should be in every school in America, in every government building in America, and in every church in America. At a bare minimum, those three
Absolutely.
entities,
Yeah.
because it works so good and it's so simple and it's so cost effective. I mean, you can have all the metal detectors you want, all the cameras, and these things have a value. They do. I don't want to take away from them, but this works coincide with it so well.
Yeah.
And it's so fast and it's so simple. And the key is it is so budget friendly.
That's right.
Man.
Yeah, that's true security. We all know this here that is in layers. You can't just have a camera system.
Right.
I mean, that's got its good points and bad. You can't just have once again a hardwired panic button that's in every classroom, because if I'm walking in from my car and I see a rifle pop out, I got to run like heck to get in there and hit a button. So again, cellular and the way that we've put this together is, again, common sense based, super simple, but nothing out there solves seven problems all in one phone app, where cameras solves one,
Maybe.
and that's or let's look at the shooter. Metal detectors. I mean, let's be honest. What metal detectors are another step, but what does that solve? Well, if that metal detector goes off and the shooter decides to pull out his weapon then and shoot everybody at the metal detector, what have we? Okay, now we know you have it, but now we're starting all over. Notification, response time, all that. So, true safety, all of those combined. That's true safety. And one of the biggest things, and I'll throw it past you, Micah. This is more your specialty, but churches, you can't, and schools as well, but you can't put up 10-foot walls and moats, and you have to be that's the beauty of a church, is you want to feel free and welcome, and so you can't do that. So the physical barriers in churches, it's a real tough situation to be in, to try to build a church with certain things that you don't want to look like a prison, and you want to be open to all. So that's a huge challenge for churches, is the security aspect.
It is. And, this will take 60 seconds. We are building a new building on our grounds where our church is right now, and it will have mag locks and cameras.
Yeah.
It'll have them, but it's all about the people in the training.
That's right.
And it's going to start with the people in the training connected with the LifeSpot, so that we have the ability to go, hey, on our 7 acres and our 4 buildings, we want people to be able to respond the fastest. Well, the quickest way to do that is with the LifeSpot. We'll go back and tell the story through the cameras. We'll hit the lockdown and close off the building, but it's all about inviting people in and welcoming and discipleship and ministry and open doors and grace and love until it's not. Yeah. And when it's not, you got 3, 4, 5 seconds max to deal with something. Well, somebody's hitting the button while I'm dealing with a threat. End of story. And it's all about training your people. Just did this at Jared's dad's church where he preaches. Was just there Sunday going over this very thing. Wow. Relationship and all of that stuff, and how important and walking people in ministry. But man, when it hits the fan, and you said it in your very first story about your arrest, got out of the car, foot chase, bam, 5-minute fight, right? Well, that's like that.
Fast.
Yeah, it's like that. So that's what I love about this, is it solves so many of those things.
So Brett, I will, as we're kind of making our way to a close on this episode, I just met you for the first time today, and it's been a pleasure, by the way. Thank you for coming on today. But Mike asked a question before, and he was kind of asking from a motivational LifeSpot, and I completely understand. We're not going to get into the specifics, but while we were just kind of getting to know each other off air, you did mention that there was just, over your law enforcement career, just enough is enough. Whenever you start walking over dead bodies and there's kids that are involved and there's life that's being taken, and there's these 7 problems to solve, enough is enough.
Amen.
And it was inspiring to me, and I think it's worth at least just mentioning on air that LifeSpot is something that was created from a purpose that it's what was just said a couple minutes ago. It's if you can't protect people, if you can't keep people safe, if you can't keep the kids safe, what's the point of anything else? It's got to start there. It's got to start at safety. And from what it sounds like, that's where LifeSpot came from.
Yeah,
Did you come up with the name, by the way, LifeSpot? Is that Can you talk about kind of what the inspiration of that was?
Well, when I was trying to figure out what it's going to look like on the law enforcement commander screen, where there's a spot, there's a life. So if I can see a spot on the screen, there's a life. So LifeSpot. That's kind of where it came from. Yeah.
Well, and when you watch it on the screen, I'm glad you said that because actually I did not know that backstory. That's funny. It is kind of crazy cool, though. I'm so glad you used that analogy because when you look on the screen and it's loaded, it's a lot of life.
Yeah.
There's law enforcement life, kid life, teacher life, principal life. All of it is there. And you're seeing it move. Those triangles and dots and everything, that represents a human being. And that's super powerful. I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And thank you for again bringing that up. But yeah, it's time. We as a nation, we solved a lot of things. I mean, life is getting great. I mean, especially, in today's day and age in technology. And again, it drives me nuts. And I love when Micah says it, this should be everywhere. And I can't for the life of me figure out why it's not. When we show it to people, just like your reaction to it, it's so common sense. But I'll be darned if we have even some of our local schools that, we'll get back with you. We're going to put it in the budget for next year. Wow, boy, that's sure rolling the dice, isn't it?
That's horrible.
It is. I want to add one thing. I've said this many times. I've said it on the show. Brett and I have said it. I've stood in front of places with Brett saying it. And it sometimes I get it. There's a little, it's not even controversy. There's a debate on it. We have been calling cops, firefighters, and EMS first responders forever. And this was a phrase that was coined, I think, by one of the first ladies back in the day. I think that's where it came from, like in the
Nancy
80s.
Reagan or something.
She threw something out. We want to thank our first responders, and I get the intent behind it. But the truth of the matter is, whoever's first on scene is the first responder.
That's right.
I don't care what it is. I mean, trip and fall, heart attack, car crash. If you roll up on it and you're the first one there, if you're medically trained or you're law enforcement, great. But if you're not, you're still the first one there, right? Okay. We call first responders, I genuinely believe part of the reason we have people that have a hard time at times cottoning on to how important this is we have got the vernacular wrong. So therefore, in our brain, we hear first responders are coming. Nope, you're the first responder. Emergency responders are coming because it's not 911, what's your first response? It's 911, what's your emergency?
That's right.
Every time. And then if it's a true emergency, they're coming hot. Yeah. Well, if people are already there, you got to deal with it. In LifeSpot, it just doesn't get any easier than that. So if it is an active threat where you think and or feel people, or you can see it, are going to die or are dying, swipe, hold, 3 seconds, they're coming. If you do nothing more than that, people are coming.
Yep.
That right there is the first response.
So true.
That's not an emergency. You're responding to the emergency, but that's the first response to the emergency.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important that we put a distinction on it because it is something that it always drove me nuts. Every time somebody would call me that, I'm like, yeah, but I'm seldom ever first on scene.
Right.
As a medic, I rolled up. I can tell you right now, I got my EMS license in 90 all the way till, 12 years, something like that. 2 scenes. Wow. I rolled up hot on 1500.
Yeah.
I rolled up around a corner on 2 bad car crashes in my life.
Wow. That you were
I was first. That I was the first responder.
First. Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they stand out because there were 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always an emergency. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rabbit trail. I just think it's an important point because teachers think, I don't know what to do. I got to call the cops.
That's right.
Swipe and hold.
There's a million things you can do.
There's a whole lot of decisions that could be made. So we could do a lot of talking and training on this, but I think that's an important piece.
No, that's well said.
So for those listening, how can we get rally behind LifeSpot? What can we do? What can we do?
LifeSpotApp.com is the website. Go take a look at it. We got some great videos. We got and I will say one that has been real supportive is the chief of police of San Antonio. He's actually on our website saying that, this is faster than just 911 alone. And he says, I don't know why this isn't everywhere in our city. And so it's those types of reactions that when people see that may be that motivator for call me, send me an email, let me do a demo, let me show what it really does, and then get your opinion. And you know, I always ask, I've got thick skin, so find holes in it, because if I can't think of everything, and Mike and I and the other 10 staff that we have that are high-level tactical operators, those types of folks, we've all looked at it, but there's still more to be done. So I would love any help or any thoughts or anything that we can do to make this better, to solve that problem and to conquer that mission of protecting our kids.
By the way, there's a few companies out there that have Brett mentioned it earlier, like they have a thing, and it's like, you know, shooting, dog bite, tornado, you know, storm coming, that kind of stuff. It is very confusing, but by comparison in speed, zero comparison.
No. Yeah,
this is lightning fast compared to anything that is out there. So if people are like, oh, we got this product in our school and it's amazing, well, I'm sure there's, and I'm not here to, it's not a challenge to the others. It's just, I've watched it in action in comparison to, there's no comparison.
I love the laser focus of it. This is just for, there's a threat that's a killer threat.
That's right.
I love the laser focus on that. The only thing that I'd say might be a cool idea, maybe this is something that piggybacks off of LifeSpot, or maybe this is just something totally separate, but an app where it's maybe not those high-level guys.
Yeah.
Where it's just the person who's willing to be the good Samaritan, though maybe the person who's already first on scene, already there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe has some training, maybe is just willing to step up. Maybe some kind of a way for them to be able to be incorporated. Maybe it's a secondary app. Maybe it's something like, you know, the Good Samaritan app, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just end users. There's some kind of screening process, whatever, but they're able to have their own ability to know, hey, there's this happening. I'm in the same building.
Yes.
You know, whether it's I'm carrying or whether it's just I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu and I'm willing to step up because I know that there's kids in the room.
Right.
And I want to do what I can. If I have to rush this guy and I've got nothing on me besides my hands and feet, I'm going to do what I can.
Yeah, we are open to anything. Like I said, I know us in this room, and if they're listening to you guys, then probably your listening audience too. I think we all feel that way, that all of us, there's so much more we can do. Well, let's just start with our children, our churches, like you said, and solve those challenges. And then, like you said, what can we expand on from there?
Yeah.
Our platform is so buildable. There's a million ideas that run through my head that, I can't wait till we can do this. But we got to get it out there now to stop the killing that we're seeing today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's almost weekly.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're honest.
Yeah.
So it's an epidemic.
All right. Well, we end the episode in prayer, and I've heard you say amen. I'm reckoning you're a praying man.
Yeah, most of the time.
Well, would you mind, sir, to say a word of prayer as we close?
Well, I'm not that good. So
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Good. It's just saying a piece and saying. Oh, by the way, hold on. This is the Daily Carry.
Yeah.
And you did put your piece on.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. We started to close. I was like, wait a second.
So you put your piece on the table there. No holster. Love it. Just balling over there.
Never have. Yeah.
What do you have? What do you have?
That's,
what is this?
the Smith. That's the bodyguard, little 380.
380 bodyguard.
Yep. Used to have a little 22 revolver, but I've upgraded. So, but I'm old school. So,
well, Brett, it's been a pleasure to have you on the episode, and it's been amazing talking about LifeSpot. Super excited, and it's incredible to hear what LifeSpot's doing. And we're going to continue to do everything we can to support you, support LifeSpot, and we're going to tell everybody we know about it, and because we believe in it and we believe in what you're doing. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And we'll turn it over if you don't mind to close us out with just a quick word.
Yeah, you bet. Well, Lord, thank you for giving me the strength to get through the career that I've had and to make the friends that I have here today to help support me on this mission of protecting our children and doing the right thing for society and making sure that we carry all of these things that we're doing in your name, of course. And thank you for blessing us and having this opportunity to be here today. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Till next time.
Till next time.
All right.
I carry a gun 'cause this world's gone cold. A knife for the path when the stories unfold. But the one that leads me, come fire or trial, is the word in my hand with a Daily